All right, here we go. There you go, Mike.
Okay. The movie I picked because of the Halloween season was The Bride of Frankenstein, which I regard as probably one of the better Frankenstein movies. It was a sequel to the original in 1931. There had been other vampire or Frankenstein stories and such, but the Universal um, production in 1931, I think, sort of launched the genre in terms of movies. James Whale was the director of it, and it came out in 1935. They had started thinking about doing a sequel to Frankenstein not long after the original movie came out because the original was successful. In 1935, it cost about $400,000 to make. According to Wikipedia, the 2024 cost with the overruns would be about 13.3 million. So it was, still a pretty modest movie. Um, Boris Karloff obviously played the monster. Colin Clive, who was Dr. Frankenstein in the original, reprised that role. Elsa Lanchester played Mary Shelley and the bride. Ernest Thesiger played Doctor Pretorius, and a woman by the name of Una O'Connor played Mitzi, the crazy maid,
Yeah.
farmhand, or something like that.
She was good.
Yeah. There were lots of rewrites of this, and they were not all of rewriting the concept of the Bride of Frankenstein. It was whether or not they were going to reprise the movie of in some fashion, and then they finally settled on the idea of creating a mate for him, because I believe that was also touched upon in the original Mary Shelley story. And let's see. It was interesting presenting Dr. Pretorius as a former colleague who then comes back and blackmails Dr. Frankenstein to go ahead and build the monster a mate. The monster we're led to believe that Dr. Frankenstein and the monster die in the original, but not long after Mary Shelley starts to tell the story in a Scottish accent at the beginning of the film, we learn that the monster did not die in the mill, nor did Frankenstein. And Mrs. Frankenstein nurses him back to health. I'm not going to go through the whole story because I assume that you watched it, but the monster begins to talk, which he didn't really do in the first movie, and it was something that Boris Karloff objected to. He thought it distracted from the mystique of the monster. The monster befriends a couple of girls who ultimately get killed by the locals, and then the blind hermit befriends the monster as well. And I think, as many people probably know, the Gene Hackman segment from the Mel Brooks movie has the scene from this movie. The movie, as you would expect, had lots of censorship problems. They had to go back and delete a number of scenes in order to get a passing mark by the censors in Hollywood. There was also a censorship case involving the movie in the state of Ohio. The movie also was noted for a number of its special effects, some of which became almost classic monster and Frankenstein cliches, like the lightning bolts and all of that. The creation of the homunculi by Dr. Pretorius took two days to shoot on a scene in a soundstage in Hollywood. And I'm not going to go back in and talk too much about it unless anybody wants to. The other two things that come up about this movie is number one is not surprisingly in my mind the heavy use of Christian imagery in the movie. At one point, there's almost very much a crucifixion of a monster for one, and then there's some gay imagery according to some folks in the movie. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. And then it was a pretty campy movie. I mean, even for its day. And the Una O'Connor character is Mitzi, the screwball maid or farm maid or something like that. I mean, steals scene after scene that she's in by giggling or ogling to the cameras, and so there's some comedy relief there and some high camp. So I picked this because I thought it was a very good Frankenstein movie. I think it's better than the original. I think a lot of things that people associate with the Frankenstein cinema legend in the United States can go back and you look at this movie and you see that's where this stuff originated. And so that's the reason I picked that movie was because I believe, number one, it's a good tale. Number two, it's a very good sequel. And number three, it became a standard of the Universal horror movies.
Yay! He made it.
Hi, Gary.
1930s. So anyway, yeah. Don't worry if you can't hear me, Whit, because I'm not saying anything substantial. So, anyway,
No, it was very good.
No, it was. Yes.
that's the basic of it. I like to
Can I ask,
hope you guys did too.
when
Yeah.
you're done,
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm not that familiar with the whole Frankenstein thing. I get that there was a Frankenstein movie in 31. Was there a Bride of Frankenstein in the literature?
They
Or
make
is it a screenplay?
they make a reference that Mary Shelley, the second half of the story, discussed giving him a mate.
Right.
Right. So I mean, that's where that comes from. And like I say, when they were committed to developing a sequel to it, it wasn't always going to be the Bride of Frankenstein.
Gary Whitaker.
It was going to be something else. So,
But it's
Oh,
Two of
it's
them.
two
Screenplay.
Garys. Wow, this is great.
We
Are
have
you going
three
to
of them.
argue?
We have 8 people here tonight.
One of them's blurred and one of them's focused.
Yeah,
and
right.
they're moving
Yeah.
around differently. So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty funny.
so it was all via screenplay, right, Mahoney?
the book by Mary Shelley.
Yeah.
is
So that's what I'm asking. It contained a Bride of.
No.
made.
It
made.
had a
Not
reference.
really. I read the book about 5 years ago, and if you want to see what the book was like, the movie with Robert De Niro is more like the book. The whole scene where he is in the windmill house and all that, that's not a part of the book.
And then I wondered if that was the concept that he just continued to learn English at a faster and faster pace and
You mean the monster?
yeah, I mean, Frankenstein, the monster, quickly grew his vocabulary through the last third of the movie.
I think that's what they were trying to show, yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that he was learning more quickly. And I believe, like in the book, I think that was the deal too. He was an intelligent monster, but he was Abby normal.
Yeah, he was.
So he was a criminal mind, right? I mean,
Right.
that has always been the thing with Frankenstein. But you didn't really get that feeling here in The Bride. They made him kind of look like he was misknown or all that. I mean, even like on like my picture behind when he met the blind guy, he was, he smiled, you know,
Mhm.
he smiled. He had a great big smile. I was kind of looking for that. And they give you the feeling that if under the right circumstances, he would have been a pretty good guy.
Maybe he got convicted of parking violations or something.
Yeah. A little quiet until you got to know him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of got a kick out of that when he shows up at the blind guy's house and the guy says he hadn't had any visitors in years. I have no friends. And then
Yeah.
78 people come traipsing down the trail.
Yeah, right.
I enjoyed it. I really liked it.
Yeah, I think they
I
gave
miss-
in this movie, unlike a lot of the others, I mean, well, you know, there's an Abbott Costello comedy with Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's the one. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
great.
one.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, he is persecuted more in this version. In the original, you know, I mean, he's a monster. You know, I mean, he's resurrected from the dead and put together by from parts of other people, and it's full of doom and dread and you know what could befall the village and stuff like this. In this one, you know, he has some sympathetic traits.
You mentioned the religious overtone of this, and there's definitely a discussion about they wanted to take over God's role and create life. And I think that's one of the things that scared the townspeople as well, is that he was tampering with nature in a way that that scared them. You know, we can draw an analogy to genetic engineering today, that we're getting some of that same kind of stuff. It's just in a different way. So I have to say about this movie that I was super impressed at how crisp and clear it was. The sound was great. This behind me, this is just an example. I was expecting an old movie that had very kind of soft borders to everything, that the photography wasn't going to be that good, and that I don't know if they remastered it or what, but it was on point for the details of things, and the faces and the lighting and everything like that. I thought were very sophisticated, and I was surprised also at the lab, the stuff that they had going on, the electrical stuff they had going on. I realized that was a time when electricity was kind of an interesting thing that was getting discovered and advanced pretty regularly, and then sending the kites up. I thought, well, this is like the Ben Franklin thing, you know. And they launched those kites, and then they had a cable thing up to support them and pull the lightning down. There's some really cool ideas in this. So I agree. I liked it a lot.
Did anybody else pick up the gay imagery?
No. What do you know?
You know,
what the name was?
I don't. I didn't see that. I know what they're saying, that between the blind guy and him being a friend. I did not get that. And I know a lot of people also say that because Doctor Frankenstein and Pretorius were basically his mother and father, or his parents, let me put it that way, his parents, that they were the gay, that was the gay thing. I didn't get that. I couldn't, I mean, I shouldn't say it. I wasn't looking for it, never thought of it. You know, this movie, as many, I absolutely love movies, because I remember seeing Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Dracula, The Wolfman, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. I mean, all of those movies I absolutely loved when I was a kid, and still, when I still watch it, I still, you know, I'm back, whatever age I was watching those, being scared to death, and at the same time just loving it, because of the photography is like Jeff was saying, it's so crisp and so eerie. It's the shadows, the noir effects are so good. The character in this one, Well, the thing that got me is, I don't know if you guys remember, but in the original Frankenstein, the movie, and it said, it had who was playing, and it was the same guys playing Pretorius and Frankenstein. But for the monster, it had a question mark. They didn't say Boris Karloff. They just had a question mark. And then in this movie as well, they had a question mark for the bride. And I kept on going, well, why did they do that? And so I did just a little bit on Boris Karloff, and he was actually from England and an actor that was quite, I guess, well respected. So his real name was William Henry Pratt. And he went under Karloff because he was I'm kind of getting this, that he was kind of embarrassed to be the monster, Then after that, of course, he was typecast pretty much, although he did a lot of other stuff. He did a lot, but he was kind of typecast after that. And so I thought that was kind of interesting too. Movie itself, I love the way it opens up with Mary Shelley and Byron and Percy Shelley. I thought that was great because, Mary Shelley did hang around with Byron, and her husband was a poet, I think.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was kind of interesting that she was, at this level of class, and then writing things about man trying to be God. I thought it was just really interesting. There was something else which I can't remember, but anyway, of course I loved it again for the so many times that I've seen it. Well, I haven't seen it that many times, but it's been a long time since I saw it, and I really liked it. But I have to say, when I see the blind man, I'm thinking of Young Frankenstein. When I see Uma O'Connor, I'm thinking of Frau Bluha. It always kept coming back to that. But I did enjoy it. It was really good. So.
See, Don, I'm with you. I've read about the gay imagery on it, but it doesn't jump out to me anything like the Christianity references in this.
Yeah, now that's a lot more obvious. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I read about that. And I went, well, okay. And supposedly the director was openly gay.
Yeah.
Which was quite a feat for the 1930s.
Right.
So, and they speculate that Thesiger may have also been gay.
Right.
But
Right.
I don't know. I don't have great gaydar, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't pick it up either, but I kind of felt like there was the concept of accepting people regardless of their appearance, and that specifically when he was with the hermit, because the hermit couldn't see him, he was perfectly happy to accept him and to welcome him into his home. It had nothing to do with sexuality. It had to do with humanity,
friendship. Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree. I didn't really pick up that vibe, but I did feel that vibe. And again, that kind of is a sort of a Christian theme in its own way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, the hermit was playing Ave Maria on his violin.
Just like Trump.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Really, Donna?
Speaking of monsters, yeah, go ahead.
Then they didn't do this one.
And then when they carted the monster away, he was tied up. It was supposed to be the symbolism for, the crucifix.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, what else was there?
In the graveyard, they had some prominent crosses too. When they were going to do it.
And the blind man had a cross on his wall too.
Right.
Yes, he did. One thing I read that I thought was interesting is that the laboratory that they used to take the body of the bride to the roof, that's the same lab that Mel Brooks used in the 1975 Young Frankenstein.
Right.
Wow.
Now, how is that possible?
I don't know.
It was in storage. It was in
Yeah.
storage and he got it. Yeah. And I thought that was great because shot for shot, when you look at Young Frankenstein and you look at this, you can see that, I mean, he did it shot for shot, exactly like they, did it in the movie. So yeah, it was good.
She's alive, alive.
I know.
I liked Minnie.
Well, yeah, you can't
She
help
was-
but like Minnie.
She
She's
was so funny, and somebody made the reference that whenever she screamed, glass
Oh my
was
God.
breaking somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
She was so loud, but yeah, I enjoyed her from the very beginning. You knew that she was going to be a
Yeah.
humorous character in there, regardless
Right.
of her part. So yeah,
Pretty good Igor too,
Igor.
Yeah.
whatever his name was in that thing. You know, grave robbing and going to the science class or the medical class.
Oh,
And
yes,
picking out-
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, he was,
yeah.
and had a little hunchback going on. You know, he was kind of
Just very.
yeah the whole thing.
Yeah. What hump? What hump?
Yes,
Yeah.
he sure did.
Not Marty Feldman quite, but still
No,
good.
no, not quite.
But it didn't take a leap to get to that movie either.
Right.
Right.
I
Right.
think somebody said or mentioned that this was more the movie that Young Frankenstein was based on
Hmm.
than Frankenstein.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
Yeah.
I saw like Gene Wilder in
Right.
the other doctor's name.
Yeah,
Pretorius.
Pretorius.
Yeah.
Victorious, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can't help
Mahoney,
it now.
Mahoney, had you seen this movie before?
Oh, yes, yeah. A few times. I mean, not
Yeah.
regularity, but I picked it because it fit the season and of the Frankenstein genres. I think this is well done. And to ratify Jeff's point, I don't know if this is a remaster or not, but it is sharp. And I don't know that the film technology jumped that far in 3.5 years, but I'm sure it got better from 1931 to 1934 when they shot it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, when I saw that it was the pick of the week, I was convinced it was a typo and you meant Young Frankenstein. Then I went back and looked at Bride of Frankenstein as like 1935, but I was expecting a blurry,
Mhm.
black and white. I think the
Right.
set design, not only the house they lived in, but the labs and everything, the set design was brilliant. And the lighting, where there is clear black and white, and there's clear
Mhm.
who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. And I don't know what the audience in 1935 was. It a kids Saturday morning serial or was it an adult? Was this a date night movie? I'm trying to figure out who the audience
man,
was.
I'm betting this was an
This
adult
was
movie,
adult. Yeah.
Yeah.
1935.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
been
I mean,
made-
it was. Yeah.
Based on your conversation about getting through the censors,
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
guessing it was
Yeah,
adult.
it was adult for sure.
Right, there's only
Yeah,
one of them.
As a date night
Yeah,
movie, you could get your girlfriend to climb onto your lap because she'd be so scared.
Yeah, there you go. That's the audience.
Trickery.
But there's a as I watched it, I was like, well, this is worth the time. There's some great
Mhm.
dialogue in it. I mean, the pouring of the gin, it's my only device. And then a few
Yeah.
scenes later,
Yeah.
cigars. Yes, that's my only
Only
device.
device. Yeah.
It's like
And
Airplane.
I was
Yeah.
They had
I
time
was
to quit
watching.
snipping glue.
Yeah, I watch everything now with closed captioning, and I couldn't tell, were these Americans with English accents, English with American accents, and the rolling of the R's, and I was trying to figure out exactly where on the planet they were from. But they used, and I'm going to start using this word. Dr. Frankenstein used the word daren't, DAREN apostrophe T.
I dare not.
They're not.
Contracted it used the word daren't, and I'm going to add that to my vocabulary. Because
Good for you.
yeah,
Put it in regular rotation.
yeah.
You dare not.
There.
But the whole playing God thing and the crucifix, I've got to believe that there was a lot of intention. You know, the lighting of it, and the crucifix, and when he shows up on the on that pole,
On
it
the
is
rail, yeah.
yeah, man. And I know that
Yeah.
was as I read today, that was some of the reasons it got censored is because it was thought of as blasphemous.
Right.
And I don't know if it's on Amazon, but I want a cosmic diffuser. I'd like to
That was
add
great.
one.
Yeah. But they're
my
so
God.
Oh, yeah.
expensive.
I
Yeah.
thought I had jumped to the 75 movie all of a sudden.
Mhm.
But
It sounded so Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
there's the scene in the final lab with the kites and maybe I'm reading into it, but the whole before she can be turned into life, there's this whole phallic rising up and out and then back down. And I couldn't figure out why exactly she had the mannerisms of a chicken, or
Yeah.
she was
Yes.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that
Well,
fit in.
she couldn't get used to, it's a new body, or an old body that's been stiff for a long time. So
Yeah.
she would
And-
her
yeah,
neck's
yeah.
like
But
like-
she looked like a chicken. Yeah. It was very entertaining, and
yeah, and a great
then-
hairdo. Great hairdo.
yeah. Well, the
Oh
fact that she
yeah.
played two roles,
Yeah, that's what was so good.
yeah.
Was there a hairdo like that in Rocky Horror Picture Show or some other place? It seems like I've seen that
Well,
elsewhere.
But
Well,
that was in Young Frankenstein.
Young Frankenstein.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's probably
Madeline
what I'm
Kahn.
thinking.
Madeline
Yeah.
Kahn.
Yeah.
Right.
With
There's
her
a-
voice.
And I heard that they got the idea to do her hair like that from the Egyptian queen Nefertiti.
Nefertiti.
And,
Oh, gosh.
My
Yeah,
favorite
and
line
it
in
was
the,
a wire. It was a wire net underneath, and their
Ah.
hair over it. Yeah.
my favorite line of the movie. They're crawling out of I think Pretorius's lab, and one of them says, "Notice how slimy the stairs are." And somebody goes, "Yes, don't you think that's a nice touch?" I was trying to write down as I watched the movie things. Oh, I got to remember to use the word daren't. And I go,
Daren't.
the
I
stairs are slimy. A nice touch. I agree.
Slimy
a-
stairs.
And I don't know which organization, but it was one of the movies deemed better than a sequel deemed better than the
Better than
original.
the original. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
I've never
you-
seen the
Oh,
original.
you never saw the original. Oh.
or Son of Frankenstein, and I don't even remember Young Frankenstein, but now I'm intrigued to go watch it again.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
remember
I'm
gosh.
Frankenstein,
sure I
the
watched
Netflix
it,
movie?
but
I think
Yeah, we
Frankenstein-
had it as
I
one of
don't-
our. Didn't
It
we?
might be an extra, but I don't think we've
I
ever
haven't seen it.
pick.
You're
I-
kidding. Oh
this
my
one-
I'm
god.
sure I've seen it, but I've slept since then.
It's
Oh,
also
that'd be a good
kind
one.
of featured in that Gene Wilder Netflix deal. Where they talk quite a bit
Yes.
about
Yes.
his role in it. But Frankenstein, the original, I think it's the first scary movie I ever saw. My folks were in
Oh,
there
wow.
playing bridge with their friends, and they said, "Go do whatever you want." And I was like 8 years old, and Frankenstein came on. I mean, I don't know if it was made better or not, but it scared the heck out of me.
Yeah. Yeah. All those movies were scary, but a different kind of scary. They weren't gory. At least
No.
I don't remember. Like this one wasn't gory. I mean, people get killed, but it's not gory. Or remember when the hand comes up when he goes to, doesn't he go to save the wife of the couple where in this movie, in Bride of Frankenstein, and the monster goes to pull her out, and she isn't that from this movie? Yeah, right. Am I
Well, my
not-
favorite line from Boris Karloff was the ah. I mean, I thought that was brilliant.
Yes,
I'm not
but
sure any-
friend good.
And,
Cigar was good.
yeah,
Chris,
And-
what'd
he did
Chris,
build
what
a
did you think?
vocabulary.
I liked
What?
it. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, and especially there's a lot of humor in it that I did not expect, but it's there. It may be a little covered up, but well, especially with Minnie, she was the one that brought it out.
Yeah.
But I was happy for the monster. Yeah, in the end, he gets
Oh,
so.
it is a sympathetic character, and I think that's Karloff too. He was a good actor, and he could bring sympathy from something that is dead. But unfortunately, he kind of
he
gets.
sent he sent everybody away and said, "You live," and then he destroyed everything. Were there
Right.
sequels after this?
No.
Did he? No.
Well, let me see. There was like 1, 2, 3. I think there were 4 Frankensteins. I think Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, and geez, I can't remember the other one, but I think there's one more. But it was Son of Frankenstein. I don't
Boris
remember how
Karloff
that.
was in.
Yeah.
So who was the Bride of Frankenstein? His wife or the new monster?
Well, I always thought it was the new monster.
Because
that's
Dr. Frankenstein got married
yeah,
in this
really,
whole thing, right?
and that's true. It's because or Frankenstein, as they do in Elsa Frankenstein or in Young Frankenstein. But yeah, there were about 4 of those, and then, but that was the time with Bela Lugosi, and he was real big, and Karloff was real big, and Lon Chaney, was
I think
Wolfman.
there's only 3 Frankensteins. I'm just going through Wikipedia. I
Okay,
don't
you
know.
might be right.
But
Is Son of Frankenstein the
that's
third
what I
one?
got up. Is 3.
and then,
Okay.
but then,
then
he starts playing Baron von Frankenstein.
yeah, the grandson of the original inventor.
Yeah,
Movie in 1958.
he wanted to move on from the monster, I guess.
With
Right.
Karloff?
Yeah, with Karloff.
Yeah.
But still in that same kind of genre.
Yeah.
And the other 2 guys, Peter Cushing and who's the other one that they all kind of got and they were all really good actors, and then they all kind of got put into these horror films all the time. It's kind of sad in a way.
Well, they probably made good money. Do we know anything about that?
They did.
Oh.
The amount of money they made it's tens of millions in 2024 dollars versus 1935 dollars. Yeah, they were very profitable.
So it's 400,000 to make it, Mike said, but would equate to what, 15 million or something like
13
that
million?
in today's
13
dollars.
million.
And
Right.
what was their box office?
I don't know.
2 million.
But it was regarded as a successful film.
Yeah, it's
And it's still
profitable.
being
Yeah.
shown, so
Yeah. Very successful.
It is where?
On
It's
Netflix.
streaming for
it's-
free on
it's-
Peacock.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody's getting paid.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Right. But
Somebody's
not
always
Elsa
behind.
Lanchester or Boris Karloff.
So in the end of this, did anybody think it was going to end a little different? When they had her on the table, the bride, and the wife was in another room, am I the only one? I thought for sure that her heart was going to end up in the Frankenstein monster, or she was going to be the Frankenstein bride, some part of her was going to be in there.
Yeah.
And I was going, okay, I see this coming, but it never did work out that way.
Well,
Yeah, Igor had her, was holding her hostage.
At one point, when the Frankensteins marry, doesn't Pretorius interrupt their wedding night and say, no, come on, let's go to the lab.
Yes.
Let's
Oh,
go to the
Yes.
lab."
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. It's much more important. God.
You're sick, Mahoney. But this was great, really, right?
I also like,
It really was.
Yes.
I like the way that they saved them in the beginning of the movie. You know, it's like, so the last time you saw them, they were both dead, you know, and then they find Frankenstein. He's down in the well
Yeah,
underneath the windmill. And the
Yep.
other, and Dr. Frankenstein, they take him away on a gurney and they take him to his house and he wakes up, you know. They're like, okay,
Hey,
we're all
That's the way
good again.
sequels work, you know?
Yeah, you got to do it.
That's right.
Miracle
Got to be a
recoveries.
dream or something. Yeah.
That's quite an arc there. With character
Yeah.
dead and then
Yeah.
back to life, and then you make a woman monster.
You got to be careful how you end things so that there's a dangling
Yeah.
potential.
Something out there to grab onto, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
I saw where Netflix is in the works for doing a remake.
Of
Oh,
this?
really?
Mhm.
Bride of Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't see that. Oh,
Hmm.
It even mentioned who was in there doing it. It was Warren Beatty's wife. She's involved with it.
really?
Yeah,
Wow.
Annette Bening.
Annette Bening, yeah. The only
Mhm.
thing I can think of where somebody in the cast gets killed and then comes back is South Park, where Kenny is repeatedly killed.
That's right.
That part. Oh my God.
Well,
Or Bobby in the
last-
shower on Dallas.
in
Yeah.
the last James Bond movie, did James Bond die? Are we done? Or is there more?
Oh,
Oh, he died.
He did?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's what I took. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
it. Thank you and goodbye. Yeah. That's what I thought.
No, I
We'll
think
see.
he's dead as that guy as for sure.
Daniel
That guy's
Craig.
not coming back. Daniel
Yeah.
Craig.
Yeah, you never know.
Could be the
But you know-
grandson.
You
of
know,
Frankenstein.
he was gonna have a baby with that one lady. So I'm thinking that's their angle this time. Is that James Bond has
Children.
yeah
Oh,
Son of James Bond?
son of
yeah.
James
Son
Bond,
of James. Bride of
James,
James.
James
Jimmy
Bond,
Bond.
baby mama.
Jimmy
Baby
Bond.
James. Baby James.
Yeah. Jimmy Bond. Little
Jimmy
Jimmy. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Good pick, Michael.
Yeah,
Thank
real
you.
good
Good one.
pick. It was
Yeah,
perfect.
nice job.
It was
Nice job.
perfect for
Good.
the time. Perfect for the time frame. I think it's my pick. Now, I have a thought. Now I'll throw it out at you guys. I thought we had done Young Frankenstein before, but you're all saying we didn't, right?
I
We
don't
did Blazing
remember.
Saddles.
Okay, and we didn't do. Well, then why don't we do? You know what? This isn't what I was going to pick, but since it is such a good one, and it really, I think, I don't know. You tell me, but I'm thinking that since we're seeing them in such a close proximity, that we could really make the comparisons. And I think it's a great, fun movie. So if we haven't done it, then I'll pick Young Frankenstein.
Well, I found it on October 24th. I'm not even sure what year it is as an alternate, and alternates are, that's
They're up for grabs, huh?
up for grabs. You can do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I'd like an excuse to watch it. Sure.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, yes. 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 Okay, then let's make it Young Frankenstein. Perfect.
Okay.
And yeah. And I think it'll be even better now that we have seen where a lot of the stuff comes from. I
Oh,
think
absolutely.
yeah.
We'll get the jokes.
Yeah.
I was actually going to rent it, but I only watched this one last Thursday before the whole weekend thing happened. So
Yeah.
I didn't have time to
I-
get back to it, which
I
by the
daren't
way-
say this will be a great pick. I daren't say, yes.
Hey, you both did a great job, and you too, Jeff Arthur, when you watch this.
Thank you.
Yes.
You know, I'm so
Yeah.
mad at myself because, and I'm talking to Jeff Copeland and Mike Mahoney and Mike Matson. I don't know why I didn't pull out my phone and take pictures of Lit and Spike and you guys. I mean, that collection of ne'er-do-wells is never going to be in the same place. And Barnhart and all
Mike
these people
Rourke.
that had and Rourke and people that had connections to Sanders all under one roof at the same time. I'm so
Yeah.
I
mad
had
at
the same
myself.
thought.
Yeah.
I had a camera in my car that I was going to
I had
bring
one in my
out.
pocket. I had one in my
Yeah.
pocket. And I spend my life going around taking pictures, and I forgot to take pictures that day. You know,
Yeah.
and Sanders' daughters were there, Sanders' sisters were there, people that I have crossed, Karen Walsh, people that, Sanders was like the sun, and there were all these planets that revolved around him, and they
Right.
were all in the same place, and I missed it.
Wow.
It was a good day, and
Very good.
I got a chance to stand in the corner and talk to Jeff Arthur for a while. What a gentleman!
Yeah.
What a true
absolutely.
gentleman he is. Yeah. And Rourke, and I'm not even sure how he ended up in our orbit, but he's a bright light. He's a fun guy.
Everybody says that. I don't know how he got here, but he was just here on Fridays, like Mahoney said, when we were low on pot. So-
Well, the way it happened was he was from Washington, Missouri, and a couple of girls that graduated from his high school went to the University of, Central Methodist University in Fayette, Missouri.
yeah, yeah.
And Tim Davis went to Central Methodist, and then he graduated, or he transferred into Mizzou, and all the girls and Rourke, and Rourke was just there to follow the girls. And when the girls and Tim transferred to Mizzou, he just moved because he would go to Fayette and hang out with those girls, and Tim got to know him, and I got to know him. Then when everybody moved to Mizzou, he just followed them to Mizzou. It was sort of like Bob Walsh. I mean, the only reason he was part of our orbit is because he was showing up to hang with Karen. And so he was just part of the orbit. And the best part about hanging out with Rourke is he's a great musician, and we'd take our dates back to their dorms. The dorms often had pianos in the ground floor lobby, and Rourke would just sit down and start playing, and he was like a babe magnet. And all these people would just show up, and we'd have hootenannies in the lobbies of these dorms.
Mm.
And it's like,
Yeah.
you, Mike Rourke, make sure you're back here next weekend, because the girls all show up in their pajamas at 11:30 at night when you're on the piano. So that's
I was talking
that's how
to
it
him.
started.
He said he used to hitchhike into town and get somewhere up on I-70 and just start dialing numbers till somebody picked him up.
I remember that. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
He had some great stories. He reminded me of some stuff that I hadn't remembered. But I'm so, and I told the story, Jeff, you probably weren't part of this, but at some point there was Mike Clayson, Mike Matson, Mike Sanders, Mike Mahoney, and for some reason we were all in a parking lot somewhere, and somebody walked up and said, "So how do you all know each other?" And I was like, "Well, this is Mike, and 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 this is Spike."
That was good to see
was the
Spike
only-
again.
Yeah.
I know. Well, Spike owned the house that Sanders and I played ping pong hour after hour after hour. I'm sure the click, click, click drove him crazy, but he was a great landlord.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a grown up. He like managed movie theaters and had real jobs and stuff.
Like the old Dunn Theater, or
No, he had a drive-in out south of town.
Oh, yeah, on 63, old 63,
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think he had one in Warsaw, not a drive-in.
Right.
I think he had
Yeah,
the
yeah,
indoor.
I
He
think
still owns. He
yeah, I
still
think he
owns
still
them.
owns that, but he
He
doesn't
still
work.
does. But when Sanders first started putting this together, he invited Spike and showed up for one of these Zoom meetings. And after it was over, Spike said, "I don't want to be a part of that. I don't watch the movies. I just show the movies."
Oh my gosh.
This sounds like hard work where you have to think about them. I don't want to think about the movies. Just want to show them.
I had a similar experience with my old man. I went home like over Christmas, and he was always fritzing with the tint and the color on the TV, and he'd look at me and says, "Boy, does that look right to you?" And I go, "Dad, I work in TV, not on TV." All right.
Good one.
Right. That's funny.
Well, there's a
Well,
lot of video of
brother-in-law and I,
the,
we
of
read
the
a-
crowd, Gary. There's a lot of video of the crowd. So, because they just left it on. So there's like leading up
yeah.
to the speeches.
Did you
there's
see
like
the hour
15
one, Gary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Jeff's part and Jeff Arthur's part, my part, and I know there was a lot of just ambient crowd in the beginning, but I eventually fast forwarded. And Jeff, you did a great job. Jeff Arthur did a great job.
Thank you.
I went back and looked. I think I sort of made sense.
No, yours did
No, you did.
really well.
When you were, I liked your chances theme a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were great. You were great.
That was thematic, and it really took you from one place to another. It had an arc of development.
What? An art?
Yeah.
A lark. It's a lark, a whack.
And Chris, your speaking part was maybe my favorite of the day.
I could replay that Noxema part. I just go back and replay that.
It's true. Our place smelled like Barbasol.
Yeah.
Because we were vacuuming up glitter for weeks.
I've forgotten all about that. I'm so glad you brought that up.
I was pretty honored that the daughter, Jen, she came over to me and she goes, "You should do the toast." And I mean, she kind of picked me out over there with the high school people and everything. And I said, "Well, you sure?" Mike Mahoney, he's like a professional talker, and she goes, "No, you should do the toast." Like,
Well,
she knew me or something,
So she asked me if I would do it, and I said no. Bill Barnhart is his oldest friend. If anybody's going to lead a toast, it should be Bill. So
Yeah.
she found you, and it was perfect. You were the perfect guy to do it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Actually, Jeff Copeland is his oldest friend, but we won't.
No, Bill.
You went to church camp with him.
Yeah, but Bill knew him in 7th
Or-
grade. I think it might have been in 6th, but probably 7th or 8th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know when they started going to camp. When did you start going to camp?
I think it was like 68. So we were like 15 or something like that.
Yeah, I was
14.
Yeah, we were way before that.
Did you go to grade school with him, Bill?
No, but
No.
when we did the tour, we took Jeff Arthur around. We showed him all the places where he lived and all that. But Mike lived not far away from my home. He just went to a different grade school, and then they moved in the house that was close to our house, and switched.
That's what I for some reason I had in mind that you were of all the people that were gathered there, you were the one that had the longest history with him. So I told his daughter, Bill should do this.
It sounds like I am really
You are.
in our group, yeah. But I go back farther with Mike Matson. We go back to almost kindergarten, maybe.
Oh
Mhm.
my gosh. Wow.
Where
They were
does
like-
Glenn Law fit into this?
He lived
Well,
across the street from Mike
yeah,
Sanders. And
Let's
around the corner
see.
from Bill.
but he was in
Yeah.
the neighborhood from kindergarten, and Mike and I went to elementary school.
Yeah, I
with
think,
Glenn.
yeah. Kindergarten or first grade all together.
Yeah.
Colin, the story that you missed was, unless you watched the
Oh,
video,
nice.
No, I haven't
Sanders-
yet.
Sanders and I had a French class together, and through a couple of conversations, he decided to put a birthday party together and invite my French teacher to show up. And he also went on the school newspaper and put an ad in for somebody to jump out of my birthday cake naked. And a co-ed agreed to do it, and so he built this, human-sized birthday cake with cardboard sides. That eventually, at the top, there was a true birthday cake, but to make the rest of the cardboard look like icing, he covered it with shaving cream. So our whole house smelled like Barbasol shaving cream, and the gal jumped out of a birthday cake naked and then ran off. But that was
My
that's the story.
gosh. No, I didn't hear that.
All true.
Yeah,
my gosh.
legendary story that happens to be true.
That's what I said. Some of these stories I'm going to tell have the added benefit of being true.
Exactly.
Well,
But I was thinking about that Sanders, his superpower was getting people connected. There was no
Mhm.
reason that the people who lived at Rosemary were connected to the people at Bass, except Sanders was some sort of bridge. And then, I don't know, every place he went, like this. I mean, getting let's do a movie club, and he just did that everywhere. He was like, you and you and you would probably get along, and let's all get together and have a picnic or build a pyramid or
Oh, wow.
do something. He was a
Yeah.
great connector.
Yeah, one of the astonishing things along those connections things, and it happened far after our college days, is he went to work for a while in his retirement for the Internal Revenue Service. All right, and so he got his shift at the IRS to have a holiday party. Now, how incongruous is that? Okay, the IRS is throwing a Christmas party.
Oh my gosh.
He was probably behind it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
imagine. All right, I'm gonna go watch
I smell dinner.
baseball.
Okay.
all right, everybody.
All right. See
Take
you next
care.
week.
I'm glad to
See you
see
next week.
everybody.
Bye.
Sorry, Donna, but we all had a great time. Thank you all very much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was
Okay,
very
you
nice.
guys.
Tig did a great job.
Appreciate y'all.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.
Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.